There we go. So let's go through the start list. It is our combined under-20 and opens event. In the under-20s, it is Raven Pider in 2 from New South Wales. In 1. In 2 from New South Wales, Riley Watman. In 3 from Victoria, Fraser, Saunder. And our open athletes in 4, Jack McGinniskin of New South Wales. Ridian Cowley of Victoria in 5. In 6, Tim Fraser from the ACT. In 7, Matthew Brenegis from South Australia. In 8 from Western Australia, Benjamin Reid. 9 from New South Wales, Dylan Richardson. In 10 from Victoria, Kyle Swan. In 11 from New Zealand, Quinton Rue. In 12 from New South Wales, Tyler Jones. 13 from Victoria, Will Thompson. 14 from New South Wales, Carl Gibbons. In 15 from South Australia, Tristan Camilleri. And in 16 from the ACT, Mitchell Baker. It's getting a bit dark back here in the booth.
I resorted to my phone light to read my notes.
Tamsin can't see her notes.
Hey, I'm getting older. Like, I'm trying my hardest. So Declan Tingay is not walking in this competition, so he's the one that's missing out. He had a fabulous Olympics, the West Australian, and he was brilliant in Oman as well, where he finished 10th. Incredible talent coming through, Declan. So fingers crossed we see him out walking for us again soon. But Kyle Swan, Olympian, is in this race. Just got to try and work out. Looks like Kyle's gone straight to the front.
Well, he is qualified for the Commonwealth Games in that event, in the 10,000 with Declan Tingay.
Yep.
Both have the qualifiers.
Yep.
A lot of these guys backing up from the 20K in Muscat in Oman, where they finished 4th.
Yeah,
as a team
they
event.
were so close to that podium, weren't they?
Ridian Cowley, Kyle Swan, Tyler Jones and Will Thompson, with also Declan Tingay, who's not competing.
Yep.
Carl Gibbons tested himself over the 35-kilometre distance. And in the 20s here, Fraser Saunder went out there as well. So we'll be looking to Fraser Saunder from Victoria, hit number 3. He'll be looking to try and get himself an under-20 qualifier if possible. This is the last opportunity for him. It's a 43.50. The junior athlete from Victoria.
From Ballarat Grammar. Part of the Ballarat race walking is coach Darryl Biggin. Kyle Swan is definitely pushing that pace early. I guess it's about finding your rhythm and making sure that, you know, you don't want to walk just to anybody else's pace if you're more comfortable going at that quicker tempo. And Kyle's a quality athlete. He turned 23 this week. What date is it today? It's the 30th, isn't he? So he turned 23 on Monday. So happy birthday, Kyle. He was 6th at the World Under-20s in 2018. And he was 34th in Oman recently. And at the Olympics in Tokyo, he was 36th. He's coached by Brent Valance, like many of the race walkers. Comes through the Brent Valance training school. Spoke to his dad before the Olympics. Dad Terry, Mum Darlene. I'm sure they're either here or they're watching. I remember saying, you know, how a lot of the Olympics were a tough one. You know, you support your kids the whole way to get to the point where they're selected for their first Olympics. And because there were no crowds allowed, you know, family members missed out on seeing their kids compete in the Olympics. So I was speaking to his dad about that, and he said that he would have been a bag of nerves if he was there, but he was so upset that he couldn't go, and it's true. So I guess Kyle now just has to make sure that he goes to Paris and that the whole family can come along to them, because that'll be a pretty great place to go.
I'd say Paris would be quite nice.
During COVID, Kyle really struggled. He's a smart cookie. He's a Bachelor of Science majoring in engineering at Melbourne Uni, in software engineering, sorry. He's at Melbourne Uni, but he's such a humble guy. You wouldn't realise how much of a high achiever he actually is. But during COVID, in 2020, just studied pretty much. And so his training went to a little bit to the side. And he finally came out of his room and the house when he was allowed to, being from Melbourne and got his love back for the sport, got fit. And it was almost a shock that he made those Olympic teams, like, because it was, you know, it was pretty hard training through COVID as a Victorian athlete.
Don't doubt it.
You know, there was a stage there where you could only go 5K. You couldn't go outside a 5K radius. And so that makes it pretty tough if you're a distance athlete. What I like about Kyle and his race walking is he has a plan and he always sticks to it. And I think that when push comes to shove, with the new distance being from 50 to 35K, I think it'll suit Kyle. I think it'll really suit him.
He'll move out to the new 35 distance, you think?
I think so. Yep. And his grandfather Alex went to the Melbourne Olympics. So he had a ticket to watch. He didn't compete, he went to watch. But he kept the ticket and he gave it to Kyle, and Kyle has it and he looked at it for inspiration.
That's very cool.
Just, yeah. So growing up, you've been able to see that Olympic ticket, and now he's an Olympian himself. His family's very proud of what he's achieved. But there's definitely more to come with him, and you can see here with the way that he's come out and he's racing this race, you know, he may be more suited to the 35K eventually, but he's certainly doing very well so far at the pace that he's set for this 10,000 metres.
He's taking the bull by the horns here.
I like that. Should we request the bigger hip numbers?
Oh, mate, they are impossible, aren't they?
We're doing our best.
Seriously.
And it's so dark.
So tiny.
I've literally got the phone light on to try and see everything.
Oh, I can definitely pick up. It's Quinton Roux, the New Zealander, sitting in third place.
Well, and he's a quality athlete.
Well, yes. He was 18th over in Oman in the 20K and 16th in Tokyo in the 50K. Yep,
and in Rio, he was 12th in that 50K. He was disqualified in the 20. And in the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, he was 5th. Oof. He's 37 years of age. He's a physio, 3 times Olympian, coached by Brent.
Yeah, and I thought that was Will Thompson just in front of him. It was definitely not Rydian Cowley.
No, it's not Rydian.
No.
So Quinton Roux was a runner until he had an Achilles injury in 2007. And he missed running, so he took up race walking in 2009. He thinks that the race walking is one of those competitions where you can see who wants it the most. Like,
I love it.
It's such a hard sport to do that it's pretty much about, you just got to get that hard training in.
Well,
no other way around it.
Do an event like the 50K, the longest event on offer, or that was on offer.
Yep.
It's unbelievable that the hard yakka that you have to go through, and some of the conditions that they get put through in a 50K. You're out there for over 3 hours.
Unbelievable what they go through. So he said that the 50-kilometre walk is the competition to see who works the hardest.
I like it.
Yeah, and that's pretty true, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, why do you choose to do a 50 kilometres? Well, actually, if you look at it a different way, if you're one of those people who just happy to work so hard to achieve your goal, well, that's your person.
It's almost, why do you only choose to do the 20? Oof. He was doing both.
Soft.
Yeah. 70 Ks worth of walking.
I love it. And still out there, you know, when you see someone who's still competing in the sport, that's been at the highest of highs within the sport, you know, we just mentioned 3 times Olympian, he's 37 years of age and he's still competing on a global stage. You know he loves it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And with these endurance athletes, you tend to be able to keep going. And obviously, the impact of on his Achilles hasn't been a problem.
No, it's interesting. A few athletes have taken it up through injuries from running.
The rain has just kicked back in again. Not as heavy as before, but it's probably windier than it was before. It's going straight into their faces as they come down the home straight.
I feel like it did us a favour and stopped for the 100 sprints, and it's just giving them just that little bit of coolness while they're walking.
Apart from the wind, maybe perfect walking weather. It's cool. But, this wind is... It's blowing straight down the back straight.
I'm telling you, it's getting them ready for Birmingham.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a very good call.
Yeah. Yep. It's just the season of you got to prepare for what's up ahead. So, you know, last year it was the heat of battle, and for these guys, you know, Doha was just incredible.
Well, it could be. It's likely to be hot in the middle of Eugene as well.
Yep.
Knowing the summer that they had last time, it was horrendous how hot the conditions were there. Back over to the long jump that's still going on. They've had hot, they've had rain, it's been dry, it's been dark.
Those poor guys out there.
There's only one tent. Single 3x3. Tough work for the coaches too. Over on the back straight. That has been a mudslide over there.
Carl Swan's going to have to do most of this race on his own if he's going to keep up this tempo.
And so Rue's now gone around Thompson to sit in second place outright. They might be just working together to get through this 10,000 metres. So those pole vaulters aren't in too dissimilar situation as the long jumpers down the back, copying a multitude of conditions. So that chase pack led by Tim Fraser, sitting fourth overall, third Australian though from the ACT. He's got a big train of athletes behind him. Now that's Carl Gibbons in the glasses. You can see Tyler Jones just at the back of that as well. Looking at this, I don't think Riddian Cowley has gotten out there.
No, I can't see him, which is such a shame, but it is pretty short a distance, you know. He focused on that 50 kilometres in Tokyo where he was just brilliant. I mean, you talk about the conditions being tough. They were super tough for that 50 kilometres, and he was 8th and walked incredibly. He was certainly heroic with how he went about his competition over there in Tokyo. What about leading into Tokyo? He did an interview with Peter Mitchell, who's the news person in Melbourne, and they spoke to him about race walking. And Peter asked him if he's ever been compared to Cal Knight, which just made me laugh. Like, Luridian was such a good sport with how he answered it. Basically, he said that Cal's a legend of the sport.
Perfect.
Good old Glenn Robbins.
So that's the chase group there. So Tim Fraser leads that. He's the athlete in the hat. And then it's Carl Gibbons, Dylan Richardson, Mitchell Baker, and Tyler Jones. He's just falling off your screen there. So there's Tyler Jones at the back.
Yep.
And there's the girls getting their medals. Jemima Montag, Katie Hayward, and Rebecca Henderson. Obviously, a fair while to go through all the cards.
It's just such a super impressive display of walking by Jemima.
I'm so glad we got to see a replay of that kick.
Yeah.
It was next level.
It was epic. It was fabulous. She's in shape. She's, you know, you could be excused after having such a fabulous Olympics to take your foot off the pedal a little bit, but she has just stepped it up again.
Looks like we might have lost one of our athletes, a South Australian. Looks like it might be Matthew Breniges or Tristan Cavalier. I'm just trying to see the number on his chest.
Yeah, he looks to be struggling just a little bit, doesn't he? I think it's... Is it Matthew?
Yeah, it's definitely Matthew Breniges. Unfortunately, we have lost him, the South Australian, from the race there. Yeah, Ramon Lewin. Northern Territory athlete down the back straight. Every time he steps up to jump, our man in the raincoat is right in the way. Plenty of screen time.
What number is the Northern Territory guy?
Ramon Lewin in this ambulant long jump competition. Another good jump there. Some tough conditions to work through. The rain stopped, which quite thankful for, but this chase group's also dropped Dylan Richardson. So Tyler Jones and Richardson just off the back. So Kyle Swan is just really grinding through this race. Quinton Roux has made the move and he's left Will Thompson behind. And we expect Roux, who's so good over the 20 and 50 kilometre distance, not to be so quick out of the blocks, but he would have to walk something pretty spectacular to get himself a New Zealand Commonwealth Games qualifier. I know they're quite difficult with such a small team on offer. For example, Zoe Hobbs, the 100-metre runner, ran 11:15, which is exactly the World Championships qualifier. And they're the hardest qualifiers that have been around probably, well, since the Olympics have been around. These qualifiers are the hardest. She got it exactly on it.
Yep.
But she only got a Commonwealth Games B qualifier.
Oh my goodness, ridiculous.
So they're quite hard.
It's just, I wonder if they fought for more spots, quota spots. Because I know Australia did.
The problem is it gets harder because
so
you don't send many teams. So the next time you don't get as many quota spots, then you don't send them. So then you get less, and you're just in this backward step of losing spots.
It's not good. How are you supposed to inspire the next generation when the incredible athletic feats of somebody like Zoe Hobbs, who's breaking national records, isn't getting rewarded? I mean, she already had the disappointment from last year with Tokyo. There was athletes on that New Zealand team that could have been picked and just weren't. Like, it's, I don't like, I don't like that. I think that if an athlete's good enough to be picked, they should be picked, because what else do you have to offer a lot of these track and field athletes other than the chance to represent their country, because they're the best in the country and they earn their spot.
Good tissue.
I do enjoy watching these sisters compete in the pole vault. Okay, I'm joined by a special guest up here in comms. I've got the bronze medalist from that women's 10,000 metre, Becky Henderson. Fabulous effort first. You really pushed that pace early.
Yeah, thanks. It was, I knew to try and get the Com Games time, I had to go out hard and just give it my all pretty much to get that Com Games time and hopefully get in that top 3. So unfortunately, I just missed the time, but really happy, a big PB. And I've been a little bit sick with tonsillitis the last 3 weeks, so I was over the moon with that performance. Really, really happy, and hopefully that puts me in a good standing for Com Games selection.
Well, I think if anyone saw you race walk today, especially if you've just come off tonsillitis, it was an incredible effort. Now, you got pretty close to that time. I'm hoping that when you go to sleep tonight, you'll be very happy with your efforts because it was a personal best.
Yes, I definitely will be happy, and hopefully at Oceania's in a few weeks I can try and get that time, and then in the 20K as well, which is our main event, I'll be trying to get that time for World Champs and to improve my world ranking. So I'm really excited for the season ahead. It's looking like a good one.
Well, it's been a pretty incredible 12 months for you, hasn't it? Like your coach Simon was talking to me about making the Olympics last year. It wasn't on the radar at first, was it?
No, definitely not. In 2020 I was hoping to make World Juniors in the 10K, and that was cancelled, and then I started training for the 20K in our Threadbow camp with all the walkers, and then at the end of January, Simon called me up and he's like, I think you've maybe got a chance of making the games. And so, I had to do, it was quite stressful trying to get 2 20Ks in and a 10K in to get those points up. But I did it, and absolutely. It was an amazing season and such a great experience getting to go to the Olympics and experience it all. And hopefully I'll be there again in 2 years.
Well, you guys, you walks community, you're pretty smart as well. How do you juggle all the studies with all the training that you have to do?
Yeah, it can get pretty hard, because I wasn't expecting to make Tokyo. I was doing full-time uni last year while I was over in Sapporo. So it does get hard, but you just get into that routine of training and then studying while you're resting. And as long as you get in a routine, it works out pretty well.
Well, just before I let you go, tell us about that Tokyo experience. It was different to most Olympics, but you guys weren't in the village as such, were you in Sapporo? Yeah,
we were in Sapporo in a hotel with the marathons and the race walkers, and it was, a bit different, but I thought it was still amazing. We got to train at the 1970-something Winter Olympic Stadium, which was, really cool to experience. And we did get to go back to the village for the closing ceremony. And that, it was the most amazing experience of my life. I was, so happy to be a part of it.
And so now that you've had that taste of what it's like to don the green and gold for an Olympics, you just want more?
Yes, definitely. Hopefully World Champs and Com Games this year, and then, looking forward to 2024 and, the 20K and now the 35Ks in. Maybe I'll try and give that a crack soon. So, I'm really looking forward to keeping training for the next few years and hopefully staying in the sport for a long time.
Well, and with the weird season that we have with distances, it's actually quite a tough double, isn't it, going to the World Champs and then to the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, I think with the 20K we have exactly 3 weeks between, so that is plenty of time. Obviously with the travel that will be a bit hard, and haven't been able to travel that much for races as I'm still quite young, but I think 3 weeks should be plenty of time between the 20 and the 10 to go over. So I'm really looking forward to it and getting some more experience for the future.
And do you think some of your family will be able to come over this time to watch you?
Yeah, hopefully. I've been talking to Mum, and hopefully they'll be able to get over and watch, because they've been such a great support for me for so many years. So I really hope that they can experience that with me as well.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us up here in commentary booth, Beck. Really appreciate you joining us. It was a fabulous race to watch. Love how tough you are and really enjoying watching your career. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Now, we've also got our silver medalist from that race. We couldn't get Jemima because Jemima's had to go back and catch her flight home. But Katie Hayward, that was a fabulous effort.
Thank you.
How have you pulled up?
Yeah, I pulled up really good. Just, no niggles, no nothing. So, feeling really happy. Got under the Com Games qual just under 3 seconds. So, I haven't had a big start to the year this year. Just been at home training, be a bit more quiet than usually.
Yep.
So it's good to come out and do a Com Games qual, first big race back. So yeah, I'm just really, really happy with that.
Well, a few seasons ago, you just burst onto the scene seemingly. You know, you had an incredible season and then COVID kind of hit and it would have been really tough. How did you navigate the COVID times?
I think me personally, I probably struggled a little bit first of all. I guess, you know, it was meant to be Olympic year that year. So having that not taken away from us, but not having it that year, I think as a young girl, I think I struggled with, I guess, potentially having to wait a whole another year, but also the unknown of if it will happen or not. So, but yeah, I think, you know, at the end of the day, I still made it to the Olympics. So I'm just proud of myself to get to the start line and be able to compete against such massive names that, yeah, it was an incredible experience.
I watched your race very carefully. I thought you were incredible. I thought it was a fabulous effort. Now, the conditions were very different to what you can experience this evening. Those conditions in Sapporo, were they pretty tough out there? Were they as tough as they looked on the screens for us?
Oh, definitely. I remember on the bus to the start line, I actually looked up at this clock. I probably shouldn't have done it. It said 36 degrees and 70% humidity. I'm like, why did I want to look at that? And as soon as I got off the bus, you could just, feel it. So the warm-up wasn't as big because you'd just be sweating and just be so hot. So I had a little warm-up, but yeah, it was definitely what you could see from TV. It's definitely how I was feeling.
It looks so super tough. Now, Lindsay and I have just watched you guys out there walking. We're watching Kyle. Kyle's going pretty well out here tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, Kyle's just been smashing it. I'm just so proud of Kyle. You know, every race that he's been doing, he's just been killing it. And even likewise, Declan and just all the boys, really, they've all just been, I know, smashing it this year. I've been, messaging them and just saying, like, wow, you guys are just going amazing. It's just been so inspiring to watch. And, and just doing it so humbling as well. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, you guys are such a close community, aren't you? Like, it's almost like you get walker's envy looking from the outside in, because even after the race, there's just this real camaraderie amongst all of you. Is that because it's so incredibly tough that you just respect each other? What do you think that is?
I think it's that, and I think it was just, it's a smaller group, so, you know, everyone knows each other, and I think we all have such like a humble personality, and, you know, walking is not the most glamorous sport in Australia, as we all know, so I think we do it because we genuinely just love it, and we genuinely just want to do our best, and we're not doing it for the glory, obviously, we're doing it for ourselves and seeing how fast and how quick we can do it. And I think just seeing everyone else, you know, cross the line, being happy with their results and can just celebrate that, I think it just brings so much unity and just I think it just brings out the best in everyone. And yeah, I think, you know, for sport, I think it's just such a beautiful thing.
Can I say that Lindsay and I have sat here and we've watched you compete in Tokyo. To me, the race walk seems like one of the hardest events. So you may not feel it, but you have a lot of respect from fellow athletes, because we just sit there and go, how do you do that? When you hit the pain barrier out there and you just keep pushing through it, mentally, how do you do that?
Yeah, that is true. I guess not to like put down running, because I have so much respect for everyone that runs.
Don't put us down. It's fine.
No, not at all. What they do is incredible. But I think, you know, just talking to my dad at home, you know, for us, if you get fatigue, you got to keep that technique going. Where running, like, you can let your technique kind of go, because you're not going to get pinged or red carded or anything. So I think between that and running, I think that's what makes walking such a mentally tough sport as well, because if you let your technique go, that's the difference between you crossing the line or getting disqualified.
Yeah, and we talked about that. The concentration that you guys have to have the whole way through. You can't switch off. Like in a marathon, you try and relax, you can switch off for like a bit, you know, not that I've ever run a marathon, but I could imagine like you can switch off for that little bit, but you can't do that in race walking. It's just on. Maybe that's why you guys are all so intelligent.
I always say that I'm probably like one of the not the most intelligent ones compared to the other ones.
See,
like everyone's studying like medicine or like being a lawyer or something. I'm just like, oh my gosh, who are you guys? But yeah, no, I think like you just said there, like I think everyone's just maybe we'll just do it in our own little place and just we're quiet achievers.
Now you're the athlete though with the cool music taste. Is it true, like Queen, Green Day, U2 concert, favorite concert?
Yeah, I love it.
How much I love that.
I'm an old soul. I take after my mum. My mum and I, every time we're in the car together, we put on like the loudest volume and just jam out to all the old songs. I just love them. It just put me in a good mood and just, make me happy.
Well,
so.
during the Olympics when we were calling your race, Dave Colbert and I, when we were reading out your music, we loved it. Absolutely loved it. We felt like, hang on a sec, you're in the wrong era. You were born in the wrong era.
No, that's what I said. I should be in the era of Bon Jovi.
Yes!
He was, a good looker back in his day. He still is now.
I thought so too. And then when he reinvented himself, because early days living on a prayer, and then he came out and he reinvented himself. And
the long hair.
Yes.
Yeah, that gets to me all the time.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Katie, brilliant. So goals for this year, are you going to aim for that World Champs and then Commonwealth Games?
That was the plan, but I think for me, I just want to do Com Games. I think I'm just so inspired by Ash Barty this year, how she just says, I want to do it my way. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to do it my way. And, we've got World Champs next year. And I think for me, my biggest fire in myself is Commonwealth Games this year. It comes every 4 years where, like I said, World Champs next year. So if I want to do the absolute best and do my best for Australia on the day and give it my all, I just want to, focus for Com Games. But there was a few races in the lead up where I want to get the Oceanas and Mackay and go away with some walkers to Spain late May, early June for a good 20k race.
Yep.
So other races on the cards, but just Com Games will be my main priority this year.
Well, you know what? You sound pretty intelligent to me because I think it's a really smart move. You're still super young.
Exactly.
Super young. And the Commonwealth Games is going to be something that will be incredible to experience. So why not put your eggs into that basket?
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm just excited to be back, excited to just be happy with what I do. And, at the end of the day, sport doesn't define any of us. We're still who we are. And if I can just do my best and that's all I can ask for, and
So true. Well done this evening. You got that box ticked. You got that qualifying
Thank
time.
you so much.
I cannot wait to see how you go later in the year in Birmingham. Well done, Katie. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks. Barker on the runway for the pole vault. Western Australian, Layla.
This is probably the best the conditions have been now. There's no crosswind. The track is wet, but there's not really much of a breeze.
No, it's not too bad. I'm sorry I kicked you out before, Lindsay. I just had a chance to talk to Beck and Katie, and I grabbed it with both hands because they're such fabulous young ladies.
I did have a pre-chat. I had my own side interview with Katie just before while you were interviewing Beck.
I'm so sorry. I had to chat to them because, they're racing royalty in our country. So
Exactly. Take the opportunity when you can.
But we certainly had one eye on this walk, and it hasn't changed too much. Kyle's just putting on a show out there. He's been absolutely brilliant from the gun, and he's only got 4 laps to go, and certainly showing us that he is in shape.
It's been a clinical performance from Swan. So he's got the second fastest qualifying. He's 39.22 from Canberra earlier this year on the 22nd of January. This is Trofina Hewitt on the runway in this pole vault competition. It's the under 18 women's pole vault. Not to be just cherry picking there.
It's got to be incredibly tough though. With that drizzle coming down their hands, it would be so slippery on that pole.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the walkers then. I was like, why does the drizzle matter about their hands? They're walking. Okay, no, I get
Well, you never know. You never know. Some walkers might have this thing where they like to keep their hands
Just trying to
dry.
think, like, what's it? Just wet hands when I'm walking. Like, I find it okay.
Really bothers me. Carl's having to go around the walkers.
Yes.
Just having, looks like Quinton Roux actually, I might see him just come in the frame there. It was actually in the penalty box. So that's why we couldn't see him earlier.
You know, the nerve-wracking thing for an athlete, especially when you are 37, is when you stop a race and you're in that zone. You don't want to actually stop because you could start to cramp, and so you have to keep moving around to try and make sure that those muscles, and you could see him come out there. It kind of looked like he was a little bit sore getting going. You can see him here. It kind of looks a little bit crampy, but you know, it's a tough one with the walkers because they're so mentally strong. They're never going to stop, are they? Like, it's got to be something really, really bad to get them off the track.
No, it doesn't look like he's very comfortable at the moment there.
No, he looks really sore, and, you know, it's probably one of those things where...
And he's pulling off to the side just a little bit.
Well, he might need... I mean, it's still been quite... It hasn't been freezing cold today, but he definitely looks like he's cramping. Hopefully he's okay.
He's got Kyle right behind him, so he's probably just moving out to the side a little bit to let Kyle through if he can. Unfortunately, a red flag there for Jafina Hewitt.
It's pretty slow.
So it'll be 2 laps to go for Kyle Swan. His best time this year, 39.22. The meet record, 38.30.61 from Dane Bird-Smith. The national record, 38.20.90 by Dave Smith, Dane's dad.
So Kyle looks like he knows that the job to get done to get picked for this team is if he crosses that line first, automatically qualified. So it's going to be a great feeling for him when he crosses the line and he knows that he's been picked, because it takes some of that pressure off when you're preparing, especially for those distance events where you need to really put some hard mileage back in at a certain period leading in. So
well, it's the tricky one where it's the comp games kind of thing, so they have to do the picking, but we put the team forward. But this will be an automatic nomination.
Automatic nomination till they select him.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's very confusing, but you know, they're not going to leave him out, so we're going to see him.
Well, no, they usually just... Oh, that was a good attempt.
Barker.
Yeah, from Layla Barker. She nearly just squeezed herself over the bar.
See them really trying to get that grip so that they can at least get some sort of traction holding onto that bar so they don't slip when they plant it into the box. Really tricky conditions out there for the young girls.
That looks like the end of competition in that pole vault. This will be the welcome sound of the bell for Kyle Swan. See if he can get himself under the qualifier again for the second time. It's 39.30. Gives him 60 seconds or so to get around. So Swan goes around Tyler Jones, and he's going to come into the home straight. 90 metres left to go. Now the clock's going to tick just over the qualifier. Can he go sub 40? Pace is slow, just a touch, but understandably, he'll be crowned the Australian 10,000 metre race walk champion for 2022. He's already got a qualifier for the Commonwealth Games. This should secure his automatic nomination. He's going to go sub 40 minutes. And he gets the warm blast of the pyrotechnics to meet him. There's Will Thompson. There's second place. There's Rue just gets the bell as well. But being in the penalty box, I'm not sure if he would have still been in there. He did have a handy lead over Thompson, but we'll keep an eye on it. As the rain came down, you can see the sunglasses on Will's head have lifted because, you know, it'd be tough to see with all the droplets over the eyes.
Be impossible, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Will was one of our walkers over at the Muscat World Race Walking Cup. He's going to go close to his seed best. Came with a 41 flat. He's not going to go too far away from that. He comes into the home straight. And he is doing the traditional move out to lane 3 to finish the race.
Oh, hang on.
So here's our silver medalist.
And he will take silver as long as have a clean sheet. There's Will Thompson. So Victoria go 1-2.
We're on the wrong guy.
And here comes our third place finisher, Rue, who, as Tyler Jones gets the bell, Rue gets himself to the line.
Oh, he's so tough. He is so tough, Quentin. What a fabulous effort.
Survived the penalty box.
Can hear them chatting, unlucky.
Yeah.
But incredible effort. Still.
This looks like Dylan Richardson. He'll get a bell. Just waiting to see who the third Australian is.
Well, Carl Gibbons was up there.
That's
How's he go?
So I think it's Carl Gibbons.
And 248.
So Gibbons here will be the third Australian. They not too far off his best either.
It's a fabulous walk by Gibbons. On the screen, it's Fraser Saunder. And behind him is Tyler Jones, just coming to the finish. Tyler's crossed.
And there's Saunder, our leader in that event, with 2 to go. And here comes Tim Fraser across the line from the ACT. And Dylan Richardson behind him.
Ballarat race walker. Fraser Saunder on the screen. Bottom right-hand corner. It's got some great distance trails in Ballarat. Many of our great distance runners have done a lot of laps of Lake Wendouree. They're training for marathons and 10,000 metres, so I'm sure Fraser Saunder has gone around those courses many a time. Fraser will come up with a lap to go.
In second place, winner of the silver medal, representing South Australia with a performance of 464 with 76.56%, Jack Netting. In first place, winner of the gold medal and Australian champion, representing Victoria with a performance of 7 metres 20 for 94.24%, Nicholas Hunt. We also recognise the performance of Joshua Lush from New Zealand, who is finishing in second place with a performance of 6.07 for 79.45%, is awarded a silver medal.
Sorry, just told a great joke off air.
It was. He's just told me. Tell them exactly what you just did. You told me how the green on the back of the shirt is the under 20s.
Yeah, it's just a wristband. And I just said it so flippantly, like, of course.
Of course it is. And I just looked at him and said, well, we've just gone through two 10,000-metre race walks, and you thought you'd tell me with one lap to go?
Come on, Tams. Were you not watching the stream earlier during the week?
Which
I only noticed at the end of that stream as well as those races.
I was, but I heard your voice and I mute. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I did.
Fair enough. See how it is.
So Jack against Guinnesskin crossing, and here's Fraser.
So, Fraser Saunder, the Victorian, he won't get under that qualifier for the World Under-20 Champs, but he will take the title for 2022 Australian Athletics Championships.